Okay, John, it's 12 o'clock, so we're going to start. Hello, everyone, and welcome to SCORE Fairfield County's live webinar on selling skills for non-salespeople. I'm Bob Hogan, the webinar coordinator today and a business mentor here at SCORE Fairfield County. And I'm going to be your host today, and our presenter, Jon Barb, who you've already engaged with, I'll introduce in just a minute. This webinar is being done in collaboration with the Monroe Chamber of Commerce and the Monroe Library. And in that regard, I'd like to invite Beth Stoller from the Monroe Chamber to give some brief introductory remarks. Beth?
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. I'm Beth Stoller, and I am from the Monroe Chamber of Commerce. And on behalf of the Fairfield County SCORE, the Monroe Chamber of Commerce, and the Edith Wheeler Memorial Library in Monroe, I'd like to welcome you to John's presentation today. We bring you, this is the beginning of our third, fourth, fifth year of bringing you presentations. Hopefully one of these days we're going to be back in person at the Monroe Library, but for now we thank SCORE for the technology and for getting our word out there. We're going to be covering many topics. There's 9 presentations scheduled for this year. We'll be covering many topics, including marketing, branding, leadership, and things like that. So our next date will be Friday, February 26th. One of the important things that we try to do is to change the day of the week that our presentations, our webinars are delivered, because not everybody can attend the same day each week. And with that, I want to just share that you're in for a great treat. Jon did a presentation for everybody a month ago, and I've heard both of these, and I know that you are ready. Get ready for a great presentation. So thank you, everybody, and enjoy your presentation.
Thanks, Beth. And Jon, if I could just ask you to move the slide, I just want to cover some brief information on SCORE. SCORE is a nonprofit national partner of the SBA, and locally here at SCORE Fairfield County, we have over 130 volunteers with a wide range of industry, process, and subject matter expertise. And we offer 3 primary value-added services to small business. We offer free one-on-one counseling, which during the days of the pandemic is via video rather than face-to-face, but it can also be by telephone or email. And you can access that by clicking the link on the screen, or you can go to our website, fairfieldcounty.score.org, and click on the Request a Mentor link. We offer a wide range of educational workshops and webinars, pretty much all webinars during these days of the pandemic, about 150 throughout the year. And lastly, we offer extensive resources on our website, including access to subject matter experts. Our next live webinar will be Thursday, January 21 at noon. And the topic is, I'm a human resources professional. Ask me anything, with Tracy Weeks presenting. And you can find more specifics on that on our fairfieldcounty.score.org website. And if you're on that website, we also have a large number of archived webinars that you can access on demand to meet your needs. So just some logistics about today's event. We have set aside time for Q&A during the presentation. As Jon mentioned in some of his introductory remarks, for those of you who are on, just type them into the chat box there, and Jon will either take them as we go or at the end of the presentation. We will end sharply at 1 o'clock to respect your time. And the session is being recorded, and a link to the recording will be available on our website within the next 48 hours. It's now my pleasure to introduce our speaker, Jon Barb. Jon has over 25 years of experience conducting training programs for companies such as Xerox, Union Carbide, Olin Corporation, and others. He has taught basic sales training, consultative selling, strategic selling, sales negotiating, sales presentations, partnering, and sales management training programs. So we have a really well-qualified expert in sales here today, and we're all looking forward to this treat. So Jon, it's all yours.
That was great. Thank you very much, Bob. Thank you. It was a great introduction. Thank you so much. Let's get started here. This is Selling Skills for Non-Salespeople. Jon Barb, do what works. I want to start off with goals, roles, and procedures. And the reason I want to do that is that's the best practice of starting off meetings. From a goal standpoint, my goal is to present the basics of selling so that you can actually increase the amount of sales by 50% in 2021 over what you expect to do. I'm serious. Think about how much money you expect to make in 2021, and now add half more to that. And it's just about the face-to-face selling skills that can help get you there. From a role standpoint, it's just going to be kind of one way. I'm going to be like teacher trainer, and you're the participant. And from a procedure, I'm going to start off with a big overview of the selling process, give you the punchline right off the bat. And then what happened is I'll go through in greater details as we go through the webinar, and it'll end at 1 o'clock. The really nice thing about working with SCORE, I can't tell you this, is that this video will be posted up on their website afterwards. So if you skip a slide or you didn't take notes or you want to go back, you can go onto their website and you can go and you can take notes and get stuff back. So sit back, relax, and just let the important stuff sink in, because you always have a chance to backtrack and look at what's coming. Okay, the official goals of the webinar are to identify the information skills and attitude required for successful selling, ask questions, listen to gather information to cover needs, handle objections, recognize buying signals, close, increase the likelihood of a totally satisfied client. That's kind of like the official goals. All right, we're going to cover the components of the sale, the selling dance, the Do What Works template, 5 keys of success, handling objections, closing on next steps. And I got a marketing thing here on ideal customer marketing, which for many of you may be worth the whole time you're spending on the webinar. And that comes like at the end. Okay, this is it. I wanted to give you the punchline. This is the Do What Works selling process. So let me walk you through this. Oh, hold on. Every time I move my cursor, I get out of here. All right, so let me go up here. All right, great. So this is the sales rep. This will be you. We'll call you the sales rep. And this is the customer. Now you have features, advantages, and benefits of a product. You've got benefits of a product. And the customer has needs. All right. What you have to do by asking questions and listening is get those needs to be satisfied by the benefits of your product. Now, that's very fundamental. I'm going to go over this again. The customer has needs that can be met by your product, the benefits of your product, and you get a satisfied need. Now, in a perfect world, you would go directly to close, which is nothing more than next steps, where you don't have to fancy trickery. I'm giving you a consultative selling approach, okay, where there's no trickery involved at all. Is strictly getting your benefits to meet the client's needs. And then once you do that, you close. And again, the trick closes, next steps. What are the next steps? And then you follow up, and that's it. It's not a perfect world, though. What happens a lot of times is if you ask questions and you match your benefits to needs, you get a satisfied need, the customer will come up with objections. Now, over here I have on the right-hand side, and I'm going to cover each of these when I get to the objections part. Maybe they're not sure. Maybe there's a misunderstanding. Maybe they're skeptical. Maybe they're drawback. Maybe they have a drawback. Maybe it's a price objection, or maybe they're just indifference. The way you handle it is you empathize with them and understand it from their point of view. And then you, depending on what it is, you probe for more needs, clear it up, offer proof, remind them of benefits, sell value, or probe for unrealized needs. And then maybe there's a stall. I've got some tips on how to handle a stall. If they said, well, can't really make a decision now, could you come back next week? And then you go down to close, which is, once again, it's just closing on next steps, closing on next steps. That's the close. Now, this is the whole process. If you want to, you can take a screenshot of it, or if you don't want to take a screenshot of it now, again, you can go back to the SCORE website, okay, and you'll be able to look this over, review this thing again, and you can actually maybe do a screenshot then. All right, so components of the sale. 3 things are present on the sale. What 3 things are present? Go to the chat and type in, what do you think these 3 things are? What 3 things are present in every sale? What 3 things are present in every sale? Just think of one thing and then just type it in the chat. This is my way to get audience participation here. See who my stars are. Okay, great. Provider, buyer, budget, great. Need, okay. Okay, awesome. Okay, great. Thank you. Customer. Okay, thank you. Thank you for my stars, like Felix and Jenny. Thank you very much. You guys are awesome. And Rocky. Okay, awesome. So here's the 3 things that are present in every sale. The first is you. You are present in every sale. Okay. Second is the customer is present in every sale. And third is the product is present in every sale. And what you need to do is you need to have good knowledge, I'll talk about in a few minutes, of each of these three items. You have to have good knowledge of yourself, good knowledge of your customer, and good knowledge of your product. Now, there's another thing that needs to happen in the selling process, and that is relationship rapport between you and the customer. Now, what relationship rapport means, it means you got to somehow connect up with them initially on the sales call, okay, in order to have a conversation. And that relationship rapport, it's all the Dale Carnegie stuff, like how to win friends and influence people. Maybe you'll talk to them about the weather. Maybe you'll talk to them about the college football game, or maybe you'll talk to them about something local that's happening in the industry that they're working in. Or just something that you have in common. You just kind of build relationship with them. And that relationship rapport is very important because people like to buy from their friends. That's why it's very important. The next thing is the selling dance. Okay. Now I'm going to show you the selling dance. All right. Okay. The selling dance really has like 3 words. Okay. Now, if you want to, you can actually stand up. Nobody's looking at you. You're just looking at me. You can start off with your left foot. So here, so if you want to, again, you don't have to, but if you want to, stand up. And I'm going to teach you the selling dance. Okay. And the reason I'm doing that is if you do this, if you do stand up, and you put some body emphasis into it, you're going to remember it. It's going to go to your subconscious, and you're going to remember it forever. So here's what it is. You can start with your left foot, and you go, it's like ask, and then your right foot, listen, and then empathize. So the 3 words are ask, listen, and empathize. So here you go. We're going to do the dance together. I'll show you the words. I'll show you the words. Are you ready? Okay, this is called the selling dance. Selling dance. So here you go. Start off with your left foot. Ask, listen, empathize. One more time. Ask, listen, empathize. One more time. Ask, listen, empathize. All right, thank you. Hold on, I got to turn off my phone here. All right. Ask, listen, empathize. Now, so I want you to do it one more time because I want to bring this right into your, I'm hypnotizing you now, right into your subconscious. Ask, listen, empathize. Now, why is that important? I'm doing it silly. There is a psychological space. I'm going to go back to my other slide. This whole thing takes place. It creates that ask, listen, empathize. All right, of asking questions and uncovering needs and getting satisfied need. It creates a psychological space of you and the customer called the selling space. And you need to be in that space to be successful. It's not just casual conversation, okay? It's ask, listen, empathize. All right, you got it? Somebody thought the music was intentional. No. It's like on all sales calls and sales presentation, something goes wrong, and what you have to do is you have to be able to work around it. You have to be able to work around it. Oh, thank you. The sales cha-cha-cha, Glenn. I love it. That was awesome. Yeah, fun. Lori, listen, selling's got to be fun. If it's painful for you, you need to get out of your business. Seriously, it's got to be fun. You got to find a way to sell and market. Now, I'm talking about face-to-face selling skills. It's got to be fun or you're not going to do it. It's got to be fun. And if you think of it as a selling dance, it can be fun. Oh, you guys are awesome. Oh, thank you very much. I just get some compliments here. Okay, awesome. All right, so moving forward. Oh, take a sip of my tea. All right, there's 5 keys to success, which I'm just going to cover briefly. The first is you got to have knowledge, and I'll get into more in depth about what knowledge you need to have. You got to believe that what you have, the product that you have, is worth more than the customer is going to pay for it. This is important. If you don't believe in yourself and you don't believe in your product, and you don't believe that it's worth more than what the customer is paying for it, you're going to have trouble making that sale because they're going to get it. It's like there is magic between people. I mean, there's words, tones, and nonverbals, and just psychic energy. It's just kind of like, if you don't believe that they're going to get more value than what they're paying for it, they're going to get that. It's going to be it's almost like tells in Texas Hold'em poker. It's like they're going to pick up that subconscious twitch. It's like, well, I really want you to buy my product, but I'm not really sure it's worth the money I'm charging. That's not going to work when you're selling. You got to really believe. And if you can't believe in the product that you're selling that's worth more than what you're selling it for, go sell a different product. Find something you absolutely believe is worth more to the customer money-wise than what they're paying for it. And you got to empathize. You got to be able to empathize with them in order to connect in the selling dance. You got to be able to understand their objections from their point of view. You'll see in my objection slide, empathy is very, very important. Yeah. And you got to be there to serve the customer. You're there to serve the customer. That has to be the attitude in your mind. I'm here, okay, to help you be successful, to serve you, to get that 50% increase in sales next year. And you got to do what works. And then you'll get results. So I want to talk about the Do What Works template. This is kind of like a signature template for me. I want you to think about this now, or just write a note to do it later on your own. Above the line is what works, and below the line is what doesn't work, okay? So above the line is what works, and below the line is what doesn't work. And what you do is you think about your selling experiences in the past. What works? What have you done in the past when you've sold something that's worked? What did you do? You can think of all aspects of it. How did you get to prospect? What did you do face-to-face that worked? And that goes above the line. And then below the line, what'd you do that didn't work? What kind of blew the sale for you? So this is kind of like homework for you. And the homework is what worked and what didn't work. It's called a Do What Works template. So let me ask you this. Let's go to our panelists again. Let's talk about, somebody type in like, what's one thing that worked for you in the past in selling that's worked, that's got you business? Just a couple people type in one or two things that have worked for, just one thing that's worked for you. What's one thing that's worked for you? I'm looking now at the chat to see who my stars are. What's one thing that's worked for you? Oh, great. Okay, here you go. See, this is perfect. Like chamber and BNI networking events. So what you want to do, you want customer referrals, belief in what you're doing. Okay, awesome. Developing rapport. All that stuff is great. You need to do that and make sure, maybe you are, but I want to encourage you to continue doing it and maybe do it more to more people. That is awesome. All right, great. And asking questions. Okay, customer referrals. Now, I'm not going to ask you what didn't work. You could do that, privately on your own. But I want you to think about it. Like, you've been in business a while, you do stuff, you just forgot to do that stuff that worked. Okay, awesome. Let me move on. So remember, it's a Do What Works template. Give yourself homework. The only homework assignment I'm going to give you is do a Do What Works template on your selling skills, what works and what didn't work. Okay. And I guarantee you, if you increase what works 20% of your time above the line and you decrease 20% below the line, you'll increase sales by 40%. All right, here we go. Building rapport. Okay, this is a style thing. I talked about Dale Carnegie and relationship rapport. That's like, I don't, it's kind of gimmicky. It's like, hi, I'm Jon Barb. What's your name? Hi, Bill. Bill, how are you doing, Bill? I don't know, it doesn't work. There's this thing on styles, though. There's a lot of styles programs out there. DISC, for instance. This is Driver, Analytical, Amiable, Expressive. This is a styles thing. A DISC is another one. There's colors. All it is, and the neuro-linguistic program talks about matching. All right. What this is to build rapport with somebody, you match their style. You match their style. So, for instance, I'm gonna put on my acting skills right now, right? And I'm going to describe 4 different types of personalities. And what you got to do is when you're with that personality, you have to be like them. You got to kind of like take that part of you that's like them and be like them. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the driver personality style. Good morning. I'm the driver personality style. I'm very serious. The only reason I want to talk to you is if you're able to save me money. That's it. Show me how you can save me money. I'll make the decision. That's it. Don't tell me a lot of stories. Give me the punchlines on how I can make money. I'm the driver style. All right, let's move on to the analytical style. Hello. I would like to buy your services, but before I do, I need to have a detailed report on how it works and what successes you've had. And I'll also need to know some clients you've had before. I'm soft-spoken, but I'm task-oriented. And I'm like the driver, but notice I'm not as forceful. But you must dot all the I's and cross the T's. If you don't, I just won't buy from you. And I need a lot of paperwork to back up what you're trying to sell me. So when you come to sell me face to face, make sure you have a lot of proof. All right. Amiable. Hi, I'm amiable kind of personality style. Notice my smile. It's kind of like when you see me, you smile. This is about behavioral matching. The weather's cold. Wish I was in Florida. How about you? What do you think? This is great. I want to know you as a person before I'll buy from you. By the way, I want you to know that I have 4 daughters. Somebody asked me, do you have any kids? And I said, no, I used to have 4 daughters, but they're all grown and gone. Okay. So that's the amiable style. Okay, let's go to expressive style. Hey, welcome to my business. Listen, you're in the photography business. Great, I'll give you lots of shots. To take me all. I need shot outside. I need shots inside or whatever. I need all over the place. You know what we got here? We got to sell manufacturing equipment. That is great because we have these products that are outselling in the marketplace right now. If you've got good manufacturing processes, I want to work with you. So did you notice? You personally may be one of these styles. The idea, though, is to set your style aside and match the style that you're with. Now, are you being manipulative? Are you being phony? The answer is no, not. Well, if you're trying to manipulate them and you think you're being phony, then you probably are. If you're just toning down, if you're like me, I'm very expressive. If when I'm dealing with a driver, if I'm very serious, there's a serious side of me. I bring that side out to me. Or I bring the friendly side out to me when I'm dealing with an amiable, all right? They got it? Okay, so that's it. All right. Okay, I love this. Somebody has, I'm gonna get to closing. I'll get to closing in a minute. All right. Okay, here, so the thing you want to remember about relationship rapport is to match. Let's continue on. That's great, good comment. What do expressive people want? Well, that's great. I'm expressive. They just want to have fun. I want to see that you believe in your product. Okay. I want you to see that I want to see some energy on your part. I just don't want to see data. Analytical buyer wants to see data. I want to see you really believe that I'm going to get more value out of your product than I'm paying for it. That's what expressives want. Let's see what else I got here. Okay, awesome. Simply being present, rapport. It's all good stuff. Oh yeah, I realize. I know that participants can't see other participants' comments, so I'm doing my best just to kind of like go to everybody. Okay, thanks. You guys are good. You're with me. I got about 5 or 6 people here that are really with me. All right. So I mentioned knowledge earlier. What do you need about yourself? What are your goals? What are your needs? What are your strengths? What's your opportunities for improvement? What's worked and not worked in the past, and what's your style? This is all pretty straightforward. It's like self-knowledge and self-awareness. So you also need to know that about the customer. What are the customer's goals? What are their needs? What do they like and dislike? And in the past, what's worked or not worked with them, and style. So it's funny when I'm working with a client. So what do I do? What's my product? My product's a keynote. I have a keynote speech called "Do What Works and Get Unstuck." Okay, that I do for audiences anywhere from 20 to 200. All right. What I do is when I'm in a sales call with a potential client, I ask them, "Hey, listen, you've had speakers come in here before for your conventions, right?" And they go, "Yeah." I go, "Well, what's worked in the past and what doesn't work? Tell me the characteristics of the speaker and what they did that's worked in the past, and your audience loved them. And tell me about a speaker that totally bombed. What didn't work? What did they do that didn't work?" And I do this on a sales call. I just ask them what worked and what didn't work. So to find out what they are. The more you know about your customer, the easier it's going to be to connect up with them and meet their need with the benefits. All right, here we go. Somebody said, like, how can we give references when we run a privacy-driven service like personal consultant? You just ask for it. It's like you're making an assumption right now. And it may be a wrong belief. You could just, let's say I'm coaching Chris Jones. I say, hey, Chris, listen, could you write me a testimonial? Could you just say that I've been working with Jon Barb for 2 months and it's just been great. And the result I got is that I was able to have more energy as a result of that. Just ask them, somebody if they'd be willing to do that kind of a thing. My hunch is that I think you'll get it. There you go. Or that's okay. Then you get testimonials with the ask for anonymity. It's fine. Just put the testimonial up. That's fine. And then, you know what? People will understand that that's anonymous. It's not a problem. Just get it. As long as it's in their words, it's great. Okay, awesome. You guys are good. I was just looking through, again, looking for the chat. All right, let's continue on. Okay, now this is important. I want you to think about this because I want you to put this in your chat. If you're going to ask questions to uncover needs, what are some needs that you're trying to uncover? It's like, what are some needs that your customers have that could get met by your product or service? So I want you to think of your customers, okay? What need of theirs gets met by your product or service? And then type it in the chat, okay? Type it in your chat. Somebody says they have to leave because they have a previous engagement. Listen, that's great. Okay, but before you go, you still got 3 minutes. Remember, you can go onto the SCORE website and you can watch this on your own. I love working for SCORE. This is great. So you can go on the SCORE website and you can pick this up the last half hour. It's awesome. Okay, fulfillment. All right. They want better well-being. This is great. What else do they want? What do they lose sleep over? They want their biggest problem solved. Yes, that's great. Growth, that's a good concrete need. Risk exposure, like flood, crime, and fire. They want to get away from that. Those are good needs. Okay, awesome. Is LinkedIn, I got a question about LinkedIn, good for sales relationships. LinkedIn is kind of like a communication thing to network with a bunch of people, which may or may not lead to sales. So you may want to spend 10, 15 minutes a day on LinkedIn, but it's more to network and you get some sales as a result of it, but it's not directly, push selling like that kind of thing. All right, what they want is new customers. So here's the deal. The deal is you need to uncover these needs by asking questions so that you can meet them with the benefits of your product. So now think of your product or service, okay? What's a feature, advantage, whatever, feature, benefit, and proof. So I'm gonna get a magic marker here. I usually have a lot of magic markers. All right. So anyway, so here's a marker. So let's say I'm selling markers, right? A feature of my marker is that I got a cap, okay, and a feature is that the cap sticks on the back, okay. So so that's the feature, okay. So what's the benefit? What's the benefit? The benefit is that I don't lose the cap, okay. And the proof is, if I just set it down there, I won't know where I put it. The proof is I can actually show you it's here. I'm not going to lose it because it's right at the end. So there's a feature and the benefit, and then the proof is something other than you saying that it's true. It's true. So what's a benefit of something that you're selling? What's a benefit? Okay, great. Oh, here you go. We got here, the webinar is available on the YouTube channel within 48 hours after the presentation. That's great. Thank you. That's my guardian angel back up there. Okay, how about you? It's like, what is a benefit of your product? And more so than that, what's proof that in fact, what you're saying is true? I'll give you an example. I told you I'm selling these keynote speeches, right? The benefit is that 80% of the audiences get unstuck from one or both of their problems, their personal or business problems, by the end of the keynote. That's the benefit. The proof is I got videotape of me giving the keynote, and then a camera turning to the audience, and I say, how many of you have gotten unstuck from one or both of the problems? Raise your hand. 80% of the audience raises their hand. That's the proof. Okay, got it? Here, a fire alarm I installed in the home, saved that house 30 years later. That is great. That's a benefit. It saved the house. So the benefit of your alarms are that they save they have the potential to save a house from being on fire. The proof is that you actually have an instance where an alarm you installed saved that 30 years ago, actually saved that house now. That's a perfect example of a benefit and proof, Awesome. Thank you very much. That was great. All right, let's move on. What's your competitive advantage? Now, this is maybe tough for you. How are you not a new Me Too product? Okay. It could be your product or service or idea. It could be your company or department. Maybe you work for a high-powered company, or it could be the service, or it could be yourself. It could be yourself. All right. One of my competitive advantages on the keynotes is that I'm not trying to solve people's problems. I'm just trying to get them unstuck. That's different. It's a twist. Okay. And then I also say myself, I firmly believe that I always give more service than what the customer pays for. All right. And that's my goal. My goal is to absolutely do that. And that's in my mind. And I'm sure they get it. But that's my competitive advantage. You can see my energy too. A lot of keynote speeches are kind of maybe dull and boring. Now, maybe some of you are turned off by my energy. So again, style-wise, remember I said earlier, I haven't met you, so I can't see an audience reaction. Maybe I need to back off a little bit for those of you who are more serious and more detail-oriented. All right. I know some of you love my energy, but there's also people here that maybe don't appreciate it. And so again, the content is still really good. Hopefully my style doesn't get in the way too much, and you can always go back and watch the video. All right, let's go back here. All right, awesome. Yeah, sometimes networking can be a distraction. All right, let's just go on. Effective listening. Focus attention on the other person. Close your mouth, let the other person talk. Take notes, jot down a word or two, listen for ideas. Listen with your eyes and heart. Capture the feeling. Look for positive intent. Paraphrase the test understanding. You really got to empathize, and you really got to step into the shoes of the other person. Let me do this. I'll talk about listening. So, lift the camera up a little bit. Nope, I'm not going to dance anymore. So look, I do, how do you call it? I do selling skills and negotiating skills and influence skills. Okay, and the model is the same. I have something that I want that person to do. All right. And the way you do it is you ask questions and listen, and you step into their world to see the world from their point of view. And when you do that, you see what their needs and goals are. And then you match what it is you want them to do to how they can reach their goals or needs. Now, I'm going to do this one more time. We're going to do this one more time, right? So again, I have a product or service that I'm selling. I want them to buy. Now, if I just try to sell them, the natural instinct is to resist. Okay, so I'm not trying to sell them. I'm trying to step into their shoes is what I'm doing. So I ask good questions. We'll talk about that in a minute. Step into their shoes and I empathize. I see the world from their point of view and identify what their needs are and their goals, and then link whatever it is I'm trying to sell them to their needs and goals. Now, they only listen to one channel, and that channel is, you got to connect on that listening channel in the selling dance. If you don't, you're not going to connect up with them. And that is, they listen to radio station WIIFM. So what is radio station WIIFM? Type into the chat what you think the acronym WIIFM stands for. What does WIIFM stand for? I'll wait till some of my stars type in. Oh, let's see what we got here. Oh, Ginny got it right off the bat. Right off the bat. What's in it for me? What's in it for me? Did you get it? Did you get it? They don't care about your credentials. They don't care about how many other sales you've had. They only care what's in it for them. How are they going to benefit from what it is you're trying to sell? That's what's in it for them. That's what selling benefits is about. but you're selling specific benefits. You can't, there's all sorts of selling techniques and ways to sell. You can't just do a benefits dump. You just can't go in and say, hi, I'm Jon Barb, I'm selling this. This is why, and there's all the people, blah, 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 blah. So what do you think you want to sell online? No, got to do the selling dance. You got to effectively listen and tap into what's in it for me. Now, in asking questions, there's open-ended questions and closed-ended questions. And open-ended questions are what, how, and tell me about, because it'll get you a lot of information. Whereas closed-ended questions are just would you, can you, could you, which are just really closed-ended questions. So what you want to do is ask good open-ended questions. So now I'm going to back up here. Okay, now what you can do is let's go in the chat. You can ask me any kind of question and I'll show you the reaction. So ask me an open-ended question or closed-ended question. I just want to demonstrate the difference between closed-ended questions and open-ended questions. So somebody asked me a question. In the chat. Here you go. What's in it for us? I thought it was great. Well, what's in it for you is that you can increase your sales 50% above and beyond what you want to do if you apply what we're doing here. What are all the books in the back? I've read over 650 self-help books, and this is 250 of them. I gave 400 of them to the Richfield Library. These are like self-help, management, all kinds of books. That's good. I'm feeling great. Okay, somebody asked me a closed-ended question. What I love about advising people, I love lighting people up. That's really what I like. Yeah, see, what you're doing is you are asking good what and how questions. Somebody asked me a closed-ended question like, would you or could you or whatever. So ask me like a closed-ended question. Let's see what somebody wants to. So let me go back here again. Let me go back here. You guys are too good. So ask me a closed-ended question like, would you, could you, or can you? There you go. Could you dance again? No. Did you read all these books? Yes. Did you write any books? Yes. Do you see the difference between closed-ended questions and open-ended questions? Yes. Yes or no answers. Ginny, thank you very much. Yes. Yes or no questions. So yes or no questions or closed-ended questions. Open-ended questions get you much more information, much more information. And why do you want to ask open-ended questions? Listen, I'll go back. I'm not going to dance. I'm going to go back, okay? I'm going to go back. You ask open-ended questions to step into their psychological space. You want to see the world from their point of view before you try to close on next steps. And you want to be sure that they're the right client for you too. That what you have is absolutely going to benefit them. All right, let's move on. Thank you. You guys are great. Okay, so write down one or two objections that you get, and I'm going to cover objections now. Write down one or two objections. You don't have to go into the chat now. And if you want to, though, what you can do is, somebody says it's hard for me to ask questions on the fly. It's an attitude thing. Listen, I'm going to, the person who asked that, I'm in like tough love, right? Boom. It's about you being interested in them. If you're interested in them, it's not about being tough, asking questions on the fly. You really want to find out, do they have a need that's going to be met by your product? The questions are just going to pop in. It's just going to pop in. All right, too expensive. I'm going to cover that. I like the company I'm using. Oh, that's great. That's great. So yeah, I want to cover. These are great. Okay, good. I don't have time. Okay, I'm going to go down to handling objections, and I'm going to deal with some of these objections. This is great. Okay, first of all, I'm going to stop now. Okay, great. This is a heavy question. This is the heaviest question. Notice I'm getting serious. More driver's side. This is the heaviest question I'm going to ask in the entire webinar. Why don't customers buy from you? Why don't customers buy from you? What do you think? If you want to type something in the chat, you can. I'm playing teacher now, but this is serious. This is serious. Why don't customers buy from you? They're overloaded. They don't need what I have. Lack of follow through. They probably don't know I exist. Okay, good. End results not clear. Great. All good stuff, but not the right answer. I'm good. That's awesome. You guys are typing in great. All the good stuff. I'm going to tell you. And I got this from Brian Tracy, one of the self-help books that I read. One little line in one chapter of over 650 words. Why don't customers buy from you? It's a heavy, deep psychological. The reason customers don't buy from you is because they're afraid. The reason customers don't buy from you is because they're afraid. All right. What are they afraid of? What are they afraid of? What do you think? What are they afraid of? Let's have some of my stars type in. What do you think they're afraid of? What might they be afraid of? Making a mistake, looking bad, loss, change, getting cheated, change your product or service, regrets, getting scammed. You guys are great. Thank you for typing this stuff in. Yes. So let me shape this for you. And for those of you that are still here, okay, and many of you are still here. Look at how many attendees here. Oh my goodness, yes. Many people jumped on. This is awesome. Welcome for those of you who came on a little bit later. Okay, you came at the right spot because this is a punchline. They're afraid. So those of you who are afraid to sell or don't like selling or whatever, let's do a paradigm shift. Your job is not to sell them anything. Okay, your job is to take away their fear of buying from you. Do you get it? Do you get it? There is a barrier between you and them that needs to be removed by you so they can see what a great person you are, what a great business person you are, what great service you'll give them. You remove that barrier. That's what your job is. Your job isn't to sell them anything. If you try to sell them something, they're going to resist. Your job is to remove the barrier from them buying from you and to take away their fear. That's the gist of it. You got to believe in your product and you take away their fear. And that's what makes the sales call fun instead of agonizing or painfulness, because it's not about selling anything. It's about taking away their fear. A lot of you got it. A lot of you know that already. It's great. All right. So your job is to take away their fear. So just some general stuff about handling objections. They may have a negative belief. If the objections weigh more than benefits, they're not going to buy from you. The benefits need to outweigh the objections for them to buy from you. And handling objections can be fun. Now let's go back to my chart. Let's talk about each of these because they're kind of like separate. If somebody's not sure, you need to empathize. You can ask them, well, what aren't you sure about? And you can ask them questions to dig deeper and probe for more needs. If they have a misunderstanding, you just clear it up. If they're skeptical, you have to offer proof. Now, this is very, very important because a lot of people are skeptical. It's kind of like this, I don't believe you. And you go, well, I mean, I'm a very good person. I would never lie to you. No. Proof is third-party outside stuff that what you're saying works, okay? And so I'll give you an example. It's like, so there's a story about somebody who was selling plexiglass, okay, that didn't break. And so this is when it first came out, So it's plexiglass that didn't break. And so one sales rep, okay, basically in their territory, they were like, they had 50% more sales than everybody else. And so the sales manager asked them, said, what are you doing? What are you doing differently? What are you doing on a sales call? He says, I don't know, I'm not doing anything. He says, well, let me go on a sales call with you. So we went on a sales call, and the customer on the desk said, I don't believe it doesn't break. So what the sales rep did, took a piece of the plexiglass out of the bag, got a hammer, put the glass partly on the table, and whacked it with a hammer. And then all of a sudden, the customer believed it. Now, the follow-up to the story is that all the sales reps in that district started doing the same thing. And then 2 months later, the super sales rep sales went up 10% more than anybody else. And they go like, oh, what are you doing? What's going on there? Are you still doing the hammer and the plexiglass? And the sales rep said, yes, I am. He said, what are you doing? You got 10% more than anybody else. Are you doing anything different? He goes, yeah. He says, what I'm doing now is I'm giving the customer the hammer. But I tell that story just to drill in your mind, proof. This is where your testimonials come in, or just proof that person got saved in that house from the fire because they bought your fire thing. If it's a drawback, remember, like if they want red and you only have green, just remind them of the benefits. For price, sell, value, I'll talk a little bit more about price in a minute. And if they're indifferent, meaning I can buy yours or somebody else, you got to probe for unrealized needs. You got to probe for the needs you know your product meets that maybe isn't being met by them. And let's look at some of the. I want to look at some of the what do you call it? Objections you wrote earlier. No. Well, that's why people don't buy it from you. I want to go back to objections. No. I almost can't find it. I'll tell you what, if you have a tough objection you want me to handle, just type it in the chat right now and I'll deal with it live with the group. I went back to, you already put up the objections, but I can't get through them. Hold on. All right, so type up a, there you go. I like the company I'm using. So I got one. And by the way, there's a real, now that you've gotten my base, you can read, you just go to the library, you can go to self-help books on selling books, and you can start using gimmicky stuff or anything else that's going to help you. So here's how you handle that. I like the company I'm using. And this comes from Tommy Hopkins. Tommy Hopkins, Mastering the Art of Selling. So Tommy Hopkins, so here's Tommy Hopkins says, I can understand the empathy. I can understand it. What do you like about them? Okay. Oh, they have a good price. They give you good service and they take you out to lunch once in a while. That's great. I can totally understand that. Let me ask you this. Before you use them, how did you choose them? How did you pick them as your supplier? Well, 4 years ago, what we do is vendors come in and do presentations stuff, and we pick them. Then you go, well, how many years have you had this vendor? We've had it for 4 years. Well, you know what? Maybe it's time to do that process again. Maybe it's time to bring in other vendors and kind of evaluate to make sure you're getting the best for your service, your money, because I think I could do a really good job for you. That's how to handle that. It's kind of, so it's just, again, it's a gimmicky thing, but it's kind of good. Somebody says your price is too high. You go, well, let me ask you this. If you or somebody you loved had brain cancer, would you search for the cheapest brain surgeon? That's fun stuff out of the sales books. That's fun stuff out of the bill books. All right, let's see what else we got here. All right. Okay, let's move on. List out your objections and responses. So what you do is, I started you having a list before. List out all those objections that you get or you think you're going to get, and then role play with somebody. Right, and list out your response. And then role play with somebody. It's like, be prepared ahead of time so that when they come out with the objection, you know how you're going to handle it. And remember to empathize. Your price is too high. Okay, here's some stuff about price is too high. Your price is too high is a belief. If you believe that you're differentiated in service, delivery, and quality, you can ask for a higher price. You can ask for a higher price. If you believe you have a Me Too product, sand and gravel, you'll feel bad about your price. So you got to sell something that you believe that you're differentiated in service, delivery, and quality, then you can ask for that higher price. Then they'll get it. And even more so, if you have customers that you've sold to that have gotten that higher price, you got that higher price from, then you got proof sources, then that's really, really good. And rehearse and role play. It's very important. Okay, now stalls. If you go back, try to just stalls. Somebody says, I don't really know. Can you come back next week? It's because they're afraid to make a decision. You need to take away that fear. And maybe it masks an objection. Again, this comes from Tommy Hopkins. I'm giving Tommy Hopkins a lot of plugs. The Tommy Hopkins book, by the way, I should write this down, Mastering the Art of Selling. I should write that. I'm going to type that in. Mastering the Art of Selling. By Tommy Hopkins. All right. Panelists and attendee, here it comes. Okay. he's got a lot of gimmicky things in there, but it's worthwhile buy. It's kind of like with the Tommy Hopkins book, you might only get 10% value out of it, but it's going to be worth the 90%. And there's no commission on it for me. So Tommy says, pardon me, you obviously have an important reason for doing that. May I ask what it is? Or for saying that? Pardon me, you obviously have an important reason for saying that. May I ask what it is? About the higher price thing. You ask a question, and then you're able to dig deeper into them from the selling dance standpoint. Hey, listen, again, this is kind of like a gimmicky thing. I had a customer down the street who said exactly the same thing, put off buying, and they missed out on an opportunity. They said had they bought my product a month earlier, they could have got 2% more sales as a result of it. That's right. So anyways, or another, just kind of like another thing on a stall is, you know what? I had a client, Jimmy, said exactly the same thing you did. And what he did was he found out that once he bought the product, that he wished he'd bought it 3 weeks earlier. But you don't make this stuff up. It's like you gotta be authentic. You gotta be authentic. Remember, this is a consultative sales approach. You gotta be authentic. So it has to really have happened in order for you to use it. You can have the enjoyment and satisfaction now. Oh, if you sell now, there's an inducement. Look, I tell you what, if you sign up today, I'll give you a 3% discount. I know you're going to sell. I know you're going to want to sign up 6 weeks from now when I come back. But if you sign up now, I'll give you 2%. Anyway, that's how you handle stalling. All right, let's move on. And then you close. You don't need a gimmicky close. You just close on next step action. If you want gimmicky close, you can. I mean, there's a lot in that Tommy Hopkins book. Any kind of sales book will give it to you. You close on the next step action. Listen. So here's what we've done. We just said that this was going to be this for you, this for you, this for you, this for you. What are the next steps? And you take action. Marketing. I still have a few minutes left. So this is about face-to-face selling, but I'll give you my best marketing tip. Okay. You write down the best customers you've had, the names like Acme Company, Jim Jones Associates, Sherry Moore. What's the characteristic of that company? And you write that on the first 2 columns on the left. On the right, you do think of the worst customer you ever had and what are the characteristics of the worst customer you ever had. And you make that list down the left side and down the right side. And in the middle, you join those characteristics of the best and you flip the worst into the opposite of it. And you write down the characteristics of your ideal customer. This is your sweet spot. This is the customers you need to be calling on to use the face-to-face skills with, okay? So we got, so again, and if you, I'm gonna have to go past this slide, but you can always go back and look at the video and get this. Remember, best characteristics, worst characteristics, and then the middle is the ideal. Okay, now this is a big picture. This is what we covered today. And then I handle some of your questions. This is it, the selling process. You can take a screenshot now if you want. So this is a sales rep's got benefits, customers got needs. You do satisfy needs by doing the selling dance. Do you remember the selling dance? Ask, listen, empathize, ask, listen, empathize. And then what happens is you go into close on next steps, or you go to objections and you handle the objections according to the chart to the right. Or you get a stall and you deal with it, and then you close and then you follow up. So this is mine. Punchline. So what's the thing you got out of today's session you'll be able to apply to increase your sales? Hands on board. Please type in what's one thing you got out of today's session that you'll be able to apply to increase your sales. I'm just going through some of the chat. Somebody like my hammer story. That's great. All right, that's great. Okay, good. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, your role isn't to sell, it's to take away the fear. That's a big takeaway. And providing proof is another big takeaway. So you're getting it. Like Laura, Jaconda, Danielle, it's great. Kathleen. You guys got it. All right, if you want to in the chat, I put testimonial. I don't know if I'll be able to see this or not, though. Yes. So if you have a little testimonial, put it in the chat. Like, what'd you get out of this? What'd you get out of this webinar? And how do you think it's going to help you? So I got to thank you. I can ask for a higher price. That's very good. It's good stuff. That's awesome. And then let me, if you have any final questions, and because I'm going to turn it back over to our moderator, but I still have like maybe 3 more minutes. Any questions that you'd like to ask that maybe I didn't handle, type into the chat right now. You can always email me at jonbarb@doitworks.com.
Yeah, that's great, John. As I say, we do have 2 or 3 minutes, so we've got time for a couple last questions. If you'd like to quickly put them in the chat.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much. I think that was Bob. Thank you, Bob. Somebody asked me what the name of my book is. The name of my book is Do What Works, but it's not on Amazon, or it's kind of like I've taken it out for a production run, so it's not really available. All right, great, good stuff. Any question? Okay, let's see what you have here. How do you seal the deal? You just next steps. The way you seal the deals with next steps. And if the next steps aren't obvious, you did not do a good job of uncovering needs with questions. Okay, the next steps are got to be obvious. That's how you sell it. Otherwise, you're trying to push them. Okay, you need to ask more questions so that you both feel comfortable. And the way to seal the deal is the next steps. So the question is, so what are our next steps? There's a closing question for you. Okay, I think we're in good shape here. Any other questions you might have? I think you're all good. You're all good. Yeah, our attendees is starting to dwindle. So Bob, let me. I always like ending early. Let me turn it over to you. Let me put that final slide up. Hold on 1 second here.
Okay, that's great, John. Thanks for a very insightful and entertaining session today. I think I can tell by the comments that people got a lot of value out of this. Just want to remind people, as John has a couple of times, that the session has been recorded and materials will be available within a couple of days on our website, fairfieldcounty.score.org. And that our next live webinar will be next Thursday, January 21st at noon. And the topic is, I'm a human resources professional, ask me anything. And that will be presented by Tracy Weeks. Again, if you would like to take advantage of free individual counseling, you can use the link that's on the screen, or you can go to our website and use the Request a Mentor link. And we'd also appreciate if you could fill out your evaluations at the end of the webinar. I'd like to thank the Monroe Chamber of Commerce and the Monroe Library for their help in planning this webinar with SCORE today. And on behalf of SCORE, I'd like to thank all of you for attending today's live webinar, but a special thank you to Jon Barb for presenting today. John, thanks very much. So stay well, everyone, and have a great day.